قولي ربي زدني علما آمين يا رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you are all doing well. Allah Ta'ala bless you all Muslims. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. You are listening to Ramadan Radio Wolverhampton via the website www.ramadanradiowolves.com and the official Ramadan Radio Wolverhampton Facebook page. I am your host, Hafiz Shoaib Idrees, with the show Stories and Lessons from the Quran. Last week I began covering the birth of Bibi Maryam alayhi salam, the mother of Prophet Isa alayhi salam. Just to recap, I mentioned the mother of Maryam alayhi salam was Hinna bint Faqud. Yes, Hinna bint Faqud. And the father of Maryam alayhi salam was Imran radiyallahu anhu. Imran and both Hinna, his wife, they were both pious. They were pious worshippers of Allah Almighty. Imran radiyallahu anhu was the Imam of Masjid al-Aqsa, Jerusalem, in Jerusalem, Masjid al-Aqsa, the third holiest Islamic site in Palestine, Jerusalem, Masjid al-Aqsa. So Imran, he was a well-known religious leader of his time. The people looked up to Imran. He was respected. And his wife was old, Hinna, she was old. He didn't have any children. One day, Hinna bint Faqud radiyallahu anha saw a bird feeding its child. She saw a bird feeding its child. After seeing this, the desire grew in her heart of having her own child, having a child. So she wept. She supplicated in the court of Allah Almighty, asking for a child. Her dua was accepted. And when she experienced the feeling of pregnancy, child inside her, she made a vow. Nazar, we call it, vow, a promise. She made a promise, vow that, oh Allah, the child inside me, when it is born, I will give it for your service. He will worship you day and night. So she made a vow. After passing by her pregnancy period, when she delivered the child, to her surprise, it was a girl. Yes, it was a girl. And she made a vow that this baby, I will give it for the service of Allah, to worship Allah day and night in the masjid. And this was only suitable for a boy. It is suitable for a boy that he worships Allah day and night in the mosque. This isn't suitable for a girl. But to her surprise, it was a girl. Anyways, after the suckling period finished, 2 years of suckling, it was a girl, and she was Maryam. Maryam, Bibi Maryam alayhi salam. So after completing 2 years of breastfeeding, the suckling period, rada'ah, Hinna bint Faqud radiyallahu anha then went to the sanctuary, Masjid al-Aqsa, Baytul Muqaddas, and there she intended to give Maryam away, as she had made a vow, that this child, he will worship Allah day and night. Yeah. So she went to the sanctuary, and Imran radiyallahu anhu was not alive. Yeah, he had passed away. Okay, before her birth, Maryam alayhi salam. So the question arises now: who would look after Maryam? Who would look after Maryam? It was the wish of many leaders that they would take this responsibility of looking after Maryam alayhi salam. There was a man alive in that time. His name was Zakaria. He was a prophet of Allah Almighty, Zakaria alayhi salam. And it was his wish to be the guardian of Maryam alayhi salam, not only because he was a prophet of Allah, but he was also the uncle of Maryam. Yes, he was the uncle of Bibi Maryam alayhi salam. We call it in Urdu Khalu. Yeah, Khala's husband. Who is Khala? Your mom's sister. Yeah, Khalu is your mom's sister's husband. Khalu. So Zakaria alayhi salam, his wife was the auntie of Maryam alayhi salam, her mom's sister. Yeah. So what happened was there was a raffle. Yeah, the religious leaders, they decided that there would be a raffle, and whomsoever's name would be selected, he would be the guardian of Maryam alayhi salam, the kafil guardian. And this is what happened. There was a raffle. Lo and behold, Zakaria alayhi salam was selected to be the guardian of Maryam alayhi salam. So he built a chamber next to Masjidul Aqsa, Zakaria alayhi salam. And in this chamber, Bibi Maryam alayhi salam would worship Allah day and night. As I mentioned, her mother had made a vow that no, this child, he will worship Allah when he's born, in his youth. Yeah, he will worship Allah Almighty. Yeah, so she had made a vow. So for the fulfillment of this vow, Zakaria alayhi salam built a chamber next to Masjidul Aqsa where Maryam alayhi salam would worship. Zakaria alayhi salam, he looked after Maryam alayhi salam. Yeah, he took care of her. And she grew up in the chamber. No other man would enter her chamber other than her uncle Zakaria alayhi salam. And she would go home and come back to the chamber. In those days, when a lady cannot perform worship, when a lady passes through her menstrual periods, so when she would be impure, when she would be passing by her period days, she would go home. And when she would become pure, then she would return back. After that, she would return back to her chamber and continue busying herself in the worship of Allah Ta'ala, in the remembrance of Allah Almighty. It's mentioned in Al-Quran Al-Kareem, كلما دخل عليها زكريا المحراب وجد عندها رزقا. That whenever Zakaria alayhi salam would enter the blessed chamber of Maryam alayhi salam, he would find with her rizq, sustenance. And this amazed him, that it is only me who is entering her chamber. No other man is allowed to enter the chamber. No one is entering this chamber other than me. So where is this food coming from? And Maryam alayhi salam, she's here all the time. Only when she becomes impure, she leaves to go to her house, to her mother. Other than this, she's in her chamber. So, where has this food come from? And what was more amazing was that the fruits with Maryam alayhi salam would be unseasonal, meaning those fruits that would grow in the season of winter, they would be with Maryam alayhi salam in the season of summer and those fruits that would grow in the season of summer would be with Maryam alayhi salam in the season of winter. Yeah, so this was a miracle, this was amazing. Yeah, so Zakaria alayhi salam, he saw this and he asked her. The Quran says, Qala, he asked, he said, Ya Maryamu anna laki hadha. That, oh Maryam, where has this come from? These unseasonal fruits that are with you, where has this come from? She said, Qalat, she said, Huwa min indillah. Huwa min indillah. It is from Allah Almighty. Inna Allah yarzuqu man yasha'u bi ghayri hisab. Surely Allah provides to whomsoever He wishes, He wills without measure. Allahu Akbar. Now when Zakaria alayhi salam heard this thought clicked in his mind. Nothing is hard for Allah. If Allah can bless Maryam alayhi salam with unseasonal fruits, it's not the season. Surely I can be blessed with a child. He was old at that time. Zakaria alayhi salam, he didn't have any children. He didn't have any children. He was old at that time. So he did dua there and then at the blessed chamber of Maryam alayhi salam. He did dua to Allah. The Quran says, هُنَالِكَ دَعَا زَكَرِيَّا رَبَّهِ. There Zakaria alayhi salam did dua to Allah. قال, he said, رَبِّ هَبْلِي مِن لَدُنْكَ ذُرِّيَّةً طَيِّبَةً. Oh Allah, grant me a pure offspring. Pure offspring. ذُرِّيَّةً طَيِّبَةً. طَيِّبَةً. Pure offspring. So he supplicated to Allah for a child. His dua was accepted. Allahu Akbar. His dua was accepted. The Quran says, فنادته الملائكة فنادته الملائكة وهو قائم يصلي في المحراب. That the angel called out whilst he was standing praying in the chamber of Bibi Maryam alayhi salam. This angel called out, gave him the glad tidings, أن الله يبشرك بيحيى. Surely Allah Ta'ala gives you the glad tidings of Yahya, a son, Yahya, مصدقا بكلمة من الله. He will be the one who confirms the kalima, the speech from Allah. وَسَيِّدًا وَحَصُورًا. And he will be a Sayyid, leader, وَحَصُورًا, pure, وَنَبِيًّا مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ, and a prophet from the righteous servants of Allah Almighty. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Zakaria alayhi salam was given the glad tidings that he will have a son. Not only will he have a son called Yahya, but he will be a prophet, he will be a leader, he will be pure, he will be the one who confirms the speech from Allah. He will be a leader, he will be pure, he will be a prophet from the righteous. Zakaria alayhi salam chose the blessed chamber of Bibi Maryam alayhi salam to supplicate to Allah. He could have gone to Masjidul Aqsa, he could have supplicated in his home. No, but he chose the blessed chamber and his dua was accepted. Allahu Akbar. This is why we do dua at the blessed maqamat, locations where the blessed saints of Allah Ta'ala are resting. This is where the mercy of Allah Ta'ala descends day and night. This is our belief that the mercy of Allah descends at these blessed places where the blessed saints of Allah are resting. Hence we go there, we do dua to Allah there. We don't worship the grave. We are against doing tawaf around the grave. We are against doing sajda to the grave. We do dua to Allah. Allah hears our dua. And due to the blessings descending in that area, inshaAllah, our dua will be accepted. So this is the way of Zakaria alayhi salam, to do dua at the blessed place where the saints, where a saint of Allah Ta'ala is present. Bibi Maryam alayhi salam, no doubt, she is a waliya, a great saint of Allah Almighty. So he chose her blessed chamber there to do dua, and his dua was accepted. where the mercy of Allah Ta'ala, the blessings of Allah Ta'ala descended day and night. His dua was accepted. Allahu Akbar. So he was granted a child at old age, Yahya alayhi salam. Yahya alayhi salam. Allahu Akbar. So my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, we should never lose hope. Carry on doing dua to Allah. If you have no children, don't lose hope. Continue doing dua to Allah. If Allah Ta'ala has willed that you will have a child, you will be blessed with a child. And if Allah Ta'ala has not willed it, you won't be blessed with a child. So put your trust in Allah Ta'ala. Yeah? And obey Allah. Become people who are from those who obey Allah Ta'ala day and night. Follow the Sharia, Islamic law. And then put your trust in Allah. You are successful, inshaAllah. Yes, if you are committing sins, you are not offering your 5 daily prayers, you are not practicing Islam, then you are at loss. But if you are fulfilling your religious obligations, okay, there is a wish, a desire, to have a child, you haven't been blessed with a child, you're 40, 30 plus 40, don't worry. This is Allah's decision. Put your trust in Allah. Allah will reward you. Allah will reward you. And we all wish that Allah Ta'ala becomes pleased with us. For us to attain the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala, we must become people who follow the Sharia, the Islamic law, make an effort to fulfill our religious obligations, insha'Allah Ta'ala. Now we'll move on to the birth of Isa alayhi salam. The Quran says, فَأَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهَا رُوحَنَا. We sent to her our angel. Angel Jibreel alayhi salam was sent to Maryam alayhi salam. Was sent to Maryam alayhi salam. Now, it's mentioned that Isa alayhi salam, Prophet Isa alayhi salam, he left this world at the age, he ascended to the heavens at the age of 33. And at that time, the age of Maryam alayhi salam was 48. After the ascension of Isa alayhi salam to the heavens, Maryam alayhi salam lived on this earth for 5 years. Yes, for 5 years. So she was 53. When Isa alayhi salam ascended to the heavens, she was 53 years old. She was 53 years old when she passed away. So 5 years after the ascension of Isa alayhi salam to the heavens. So from this, we learn that she was 15 years older than Isa alayhi salam. So when she gave birth to Isa alayhi salam, she was 15 years of age. She was approximately 15 years old, approximately, when she gave birth to Prophet Isa alayhi salam. So the Quran says, we sent to her our angel. The word ruh has been used here. The commentators mention that this is referring to angel Jibreel alayhi salam. Okay. It's mentioned that angel Jibreel alayhi salam is called the soul, ruh, which means soul, for 3 reasons. Here is the soul of humankind and delivers what is needed for salvation, as well as what fuels the spirit. Second, the term Ya Ruhi is like a term of endearment expressed to the most beloved creation of Allah, to the most beloved creation of Allah. Finally, angel Jibreel is a spiritual being that exudes all things good and pure without being tainted by evil. Angel Jibreel has appeared in different forms depending who the message was being carried to. Okay, so angel Jibreel alayhi salam came to Maryam alayhi salam, and it's mentioned فَأَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهَا رُوحَنَا فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. He came in the form of a handsome male, بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. And the Quran states, قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا. قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا. That Maryam alayha salam, she said, verily I seek refuge with the most beneficent Allah from you if you do fear Allah. Yeah, when angel Jibreel alayhi salam came to Maryam alayhi salam, she was horrified and speechless, but her response was that of a pious woman. Her warning to stay away would apply only to one who fears Allah. Allahu Akbar. Angel Jibreel said, Qala, Quran says, the angel said, Innama ana rasulu rabbik li'ahaba laki ghulaman zakiyya. That I am only a messenger from your Lord to you the gift, to announce to you the gift of a righteous son. Yeah? To gift you with a righteous son. Yeah, so li'ahaba laki. Here the verse says to grant you. It refers to granting something with nothing expected in return. Angel Jibreel alayhi salam was sent to grant Maryam a baby boy by the will of Allah. So this was by the will of Allah. Allah Ta'ala is the one who grants us blessings, but He has created means, asbab. Yeah. For example, your mother, she cooks food for you. Allah Ta'ala was the one who allowed her to cook the food and to cause that food to reach you and to reach your stomach. So Allah Ta'ala is the one who grants blessings through His people. Ghulaman Zakiyya, it's mentioned, righteous son. One of the attributes of that boy is Zaki, meaning that he is pure and not an illegitimate child. What did she say? She said, قالت أَنَّا يَكُونُ لِي غُلَامٌ وَلَمْ يَمْسَسْنِي بَشَرٌ وَلَمْ أَكُ بَغِيًّا. Bibi Maryam alayhi salam said, how shall I have a son, seeing that no man has touched me, nor am I unchaste? Maryam alayhi salam was appalled to hear that she would bear a child. So Maryam alayhi salam, she was shocked, astonished that no man had touched her, and she would be having a child. She was not married, nor had she been touched by any man. Her modesty and honor would be compromised. Baghiya, the term Baghiya implies someone who prostitutes and desires men. Maryam alayhi salam was free from these things. She was a poor lady. The Quran then says, قَالَ كَذَلِكَ قَالَ رَبُّكَ وَعَلَيَّ هَيِّنْ. Allahu Akbar. That the angel said, it will be like this. قَالَ كَذَلِكَ. He said, so it will be. Your Lord said, قَالَ رَبُّكَ. Your Lord said, هُوَ عَلَيَّ هَيِّنْ. That it is easy for me. وَلِنَجْعَلَهُ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ وَرَحْمَةً مِنَّا. And we wish to appoint him as a sign to mankind, وَرَحْمَةً مِنَّا, and as a mercy from us, and it is a matter already decreed. وَكَانَ أَمْرًا مَقْضِيًّا, and it is a matter already decreed by Allah. Jibreel alayhi salam informs Maryam alayhi salam that Allah's commands are effortless and He wills it, so it happens. Just as Allah granted Zakaria a child, He is capable of doing the same for Maryam alayhi salam. هُوَ عَلَيَّ هَيِّنْ وَلِنَجْعَلَهُ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ وَرَحْمَةً. He, Jesus alayhi salam, was a miracle who brought miracles to mankind. وَرَحْمَةً مِنَّا, and as a mercy from us, meaning He also was a mercy to humanity and a beacon of salvation. Jesus alayhi salam was also a mercy to humanity and a beacon of salvation through the teachings Allah revealed to Him. وَكَانَ أَمْرًا مَقْضِيًّا, and it is a matter already decreed by Allah. Angel Jibreel alayhi salam conveyed to Maryam alayhi salam, this was something destined by Allah. Allahu Akbar. So this was a miracle. Isa alayhi salam was going to be born without a father, without the interference of a father. Adam alayhi salam, he also came into this dunya without a father. And his wife Hawa alayhi salam, she was created from his left rib. We are coming close to the break. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome back. You are listening to Ramadan Radio Wolverhampton via the official Ramadan Radio Wolverhampton Facebook page and via the website www.ramadanradiowolves.com. I am your host with the show Stories and Lessons from the Quran. Before the break, I covered the birth of Bibi Maryam alayhi salam, and we learnt about the parents of Maryam alayhi salam, Imran, her father radiyallahu anhu, and her mother Hinna bint Faqud radiyallahu anha. Insha'Allah, I will continue. I reached the incident in which we learnt about Angel Jibreel alayhi salam coming to Bibi Maryam alayhi salam. The Quran says, فَأَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهَا رُوحَنَا, we sent to her our ruh, meaning ruh here means Jibreel alayhi salam. فَأَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهَا رُوحَنَا فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا, in the form of a beautiful man. Basharan Sawiya, beautiful man. And when Bibi Maryam alayhi salam saw this, she was a pious woman. She said, إِنِّي أَعُوذُ بِالرَّحْمَنِ مِنْكَ إِن كُنْتَ تَقِيًّا, that I seek refuge from Ar-Rahman, the most beneficent. Ar-Rahman, إِن كُنْتَ تَقِيًّا, if you fear Allah Ta'ala. So if you have come with any wrong intentions, I am not a wrong woman. I am a pious lady. So she seeked Allah's refuge. Yeah? So we should also do this. When we find ourselves in situations, where there is a possibility, where there are, people committing sins, and it's very easy for us to commit sins. In such situations, we should seek the refuge of Allah from shaitan the accursed by saying, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek Allah's refuge, the refuge of Allah from shaitan the accursed. And Angel Jibreel alayhi salam told her, Innama ana rasulu rabbik, that I am a messenger of your Lord, sent by your Lord. I am a messenger. لِأَهَبَ لَكِ غُلَامًا زَكِيًّا, and I have come here to give you a pure child. Zakiya, غُلَامًا زَكِيًّا. In reality, Allah gives, but He has created asbab, means. Yeah. She said, Anna yakunu, qalat, she said, Anna yakunu li waladun walam yamsasni basharun walam aku baghiya, that I will have a child whereas no man has touched me, and I am not an unchaste woman, I am not a bad woman, I am a pure woman. Yeah. And Angel Jibreel told her that this is not hard for Allah, for your Lord, huwa alayya hayyin, it is easy. And he informed her that, the baby who will be born, Isa alayhi salam, he will be a sign from his Lord. وَلِنَجْعَلَهُ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ, he will be a sign for mankind. وَرَحْمَةً مِنَّا, Allah says is a mercy from us. He will be a mercy. Wa rahmah, He will be a mercy. And this matter has been decided. Wa kana amran maqdiya. So insha'Allah ta'ala, we will continue with the incident. So it's mentioned in the Quran, فَحَمَلَتْهُ فَانْتَبَذَتْ بِهِ مَكَانًا قَصِيًّا. And she conceived him, and she withdrew with him to a far place. Bibi Maryam alayhi salam, she was aware of the type of society that surrounded her and what their reaction would be. She did not want to submit herself to their accusations as well as to the agony and anguish of childbirth. It was then she decided to withdraw and seclude herself in a faraway place. Some narrations say she was pregnant for 7 or 8 months. However, the most authentic narration states that she was pregnant for 9. At the time of childbirth, she traveled to Baytul Laham, which is present-day Bethlehem. According to Ibn Kathir, Maryam alayhi salam and her sister Yahya alayhi salam, who is also Zakaria alayhi salam's wife. This is her auntie, her khala. Zakaria alayhi salam is the husband of her khala. So they were both pregnant at the same time. When Yahya was near Maryam, the wife of Zakaria alayhi salam, the child in her womb would bow to the child in Maryam's, since at that time sujood was permissible. Yahya and her unborn baby also felt most comfortable and at peace when they were around Maryam alayhi salam. Indeed, it was miraculous for the two messengers to communicate before their actual birth. Isa alayhi salam would even speak to his mother while in her womb. If he is not speaking to her, she hears his constant praise and tasbih to Allah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. So the child in the womb of Yahya would bow to the child in Maryam, since at that time sujood was permissible. A sajda of ta'zim, respect, not ibadat, worship. And Yahya and her unborn baby also felt comfortable and at peace when they were around Maryam alayhi salam. So indeed it was miraculous for the two messengers to communicate before their actual birth. And Isa alayhi salam, he would speak to his mother whilst in the womb of his mother, while in her womb. And if he wasn't speaking to her, then he would recite, he would praise Allah Ta'ala, he would do tasbih to Allah. Allahu Akbar. The Quran says, فَأَجَاءَهَا الْمَخَاضُ إِلَى جِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ قَالَتْ يَا لَيْتَنِي مِتُّ قَبْلَ هَذَا وَكُنْتُ نَسْيًا مَنْسِيًّا. Verse 23 from Surah Maryam, the 19th Surah of Al-Quranul Kareem. And the pains of childbirth drove her to the trunk of a palm tree. She said, Ya laytani mittu qabla hadha. Would that I had died before this. Wa kuntu nasiyan mansiya. And had been forgotten and out of sight. Usually one holds the hand of a husband or a mother during this difficult time. However, with no one around her, Maryam alayhi salam, it's mentioned she grasped onto the branch of a tree. And the Quran does not explicitly describe Maryam's childbirth, and seems to skip over that fact, since it is obvious and apparent, and to maintain the eloquence of the Quran. But here we learn that she approached a tree. When the pain increased, when the pains of childbirth began, she came near a tree, palm tree, and she holded the trunk of the palm tree. And out of pain she said, would that I had died before this and had been forgotten and out of sight. So generally in normal circumstances to utter such or to do dua for death is not permissible. This is a mas'ala one must know, that to pray for death is not permissible. The Quran says, فَنَادَاهَا مِن تَحْتِهَا أَلَّا تَحْزَنِي قَدْ جَعَلَ رَبُّكِ تَحْتَكِ سَرِيًّا. This is verse 24 from Surah Maryam, the 19th Surah of Al-Quranul Kareem. Then a voice was heard, somebody called out from beneath, saying, "Grieve not, your Lord has provided a water stream in front of you." Scholars have mentioned also that in front of her this voice was heard. Okay. Maryam heard a call telling her not to grieve. And there are two narrations as to who this call was from. One narration states it was Angel Jibreel, whilst the other states it was Isa alayhi salam. Yeah. That do not grieve. Allah Ta'ala has caused a stream to flow underneath you. Yeah. Water stream. That you should not distress about your dishonor or worry about being unable to fulfill the responsibility that Allah has endowed upon you. So Allah said, قَدْ جَعَلَ رَبُّكِ تَحْتَكِ سَرِيًّا. Here, Sariya refers to a spring of water from an elevation. Allah said, verse number 25, Surah Maryam, وَهُزِّي إِلَيْكِ بِجِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ تُسَاقِطْ عَلَيْكِ رُطَبًا جَنِيًّا. Allah told her, and shake the trunk of palm tree towards you, it will let fall fresh ripe dates upon you. Allah orders Maryam alayhi salam to shake the trunk of the palm tree towards her, causing the dates to fall as sustenance for her. So from this one can learn that it is important for one to put in the effort and then place their trust in Allah. Yeah? Then place their trust in Allah. As we learn in the from the narration in Tirmidhi Sharif, in Al-Jami' of Imam Tirmidhi rahimahullah, that it is stated a man entered the masjid without tying his camel. The Prophet alayhi salam inquired as to why he had not tied it. And he replied, he depended on Allah. He depended on Allah. The Prophet, peace be upon him, responded by saying that he should tie it and then depend on Allah. One should do what is in their power and then leave the rest to Allah. Allahu Akbar. So it's mentioned that she shook the tree, and this tree, it didn't have any fruit on it. It wasn't the season. It was winter. Due to shaking the tree, fruits grew. Yeah, this was a miracle. Fruits, they grew there and then. And she ate from the tree. When she ate the date, she felt better. This lessened her pain of childbirth. Yeah, her pain decreased due to the date. And dates, they are rich in iron. Dates, they are rich in iron. And if one's wife is close to childbirth, date is excellent. It does the job. MashaAllah. Quran says, فَكُلِي وَاشْرَبِي وَقَرِّي عَيْنَا. So eat and drink and be glad. So Bibi Maryam was told that eat, drink, and be glad. وَقَرِّي عَيْنَا. Cause your eyes to be cool. Yeah, be glad. And فَإِمَّا تَرَيِنَّ مِنَ الْبَشَرِ أَحَدًا. And if you see any human being, فَقُولِي إِنِّي نَذَرْتُ لِلرَّحْمَنِ صَوْمًا فَلَنْ أُكَلِّمَ الْيَوْمَ إِنْسِيًّا. if you see any human being, say that surely I have made a vow, nazar. Here we call it nazar vow. I have vowed a fast unto the most beneficent, Ar-Rahman. So I shall not speak to any human being this day. The fast in that time of the Bani Israel was not only to stay away from food and drink, but also speech. Yeah, if they would speak, the fast would break. Yeah. So Bibi Maryam is being told that, don't worry, when you return back to your people, what they will say, they will accuse you, etc. Don't worry about them. If anybody does say anything, asks you, just tell them that, look, I am fasting. Yeah, I am fasting. And it's mentioned that when she was pregnant, Maryam alayhi salam, her cousin, his name was Yusuf, he noticed signs of pregnancy. And he was a pious man. Yeah, he was a pious man. And he knew Maryam alayhi salam was a pious lady. Of course, she would always, be in her chamber worshipping Allah Almighty. So he thought to himself, how could I ask Maryam alayhi salam, regarding her situation? So he approached her hesitantly, knowing that she's a pious believer. He wished to receive an explanation to satisfy the questions in his mind about her pregnancy. So he Maryam alayhi salam, she permitted him to ask, emphasizing that he be understanding and kind. So he asked her if trees, grass and plants grow without water. And she replied, yes, explaining that the one who was able to create it the first time from nothing can make it grow with and without water. Allahu Akbar. And she then asked him who made water before it was water. He replied that Allah did. He asked her, can a baby be conceived without a father, without a husband? She answered him by saying, the one who created Adam alayhi salam without a father or a mother can create a baby without a father. Then he responded by saying, Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. Allahu Akbar. Allah has the power over all things. Allah is great. And he believed. Okay. Allahu Akbar. So Maryam alayhi salam was told that if she was to see anyone, not to answer and to fast from talk. Yeah? In the past, people would fast from talking, and this was part of their belief. In Islam, however, it is prohibited to abstain completely from speaking. This is apparent when, so this was part of their fast, the Bani Israel, that they would abstain from conversing, talking. The Quran says, فَآتَتْ بِهِ قَوْمَهَا تَحْمِلُهُ. Then she brought him, Isa alayhi salam, to her people, carrying him. So while Maryam alayhi salam was away, her townspeople had gone looking for her. And it's mentioned, according to most narrations, she was away for 40 days. Eventually, she approached her people with Isa alayhi salam in her arms. Quran says, قالوا يا مريم لقد جئت شيئا فريا. They said, the people, when they saw Maryam alayhi salam, they said, indeed you have brought a thing, fariya, an unheard mighty thing. They saw her coming from far away and expressed their shock at the sight of the baby in her arms. Fariya refers to something unlike any other and completely unbelievable. They said, Ya ukhta Harun. It was said, Ya ukhta Haruna, ma kana abukim ra'a saw'in wa ma kana abukim ra'a su'in wa ma kanat ummuki baghiya. Allahu Akbar. That, O sister of Harun, O sister of Harun, your father was not a man who used to commit adultery, nor your mother was an unchaste woman. So Harun is mentioned at that time. He was a pious man, an abid. So was Maryam alayhi salam pious. So this is why they addressed her as the sister of Harun. So here it's not referring to Prophet Harun alayhi salam, remember. Prophet Harun alayhi salam is the brother of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. So the Quran states, Ya ukhta Haruna ma kana abuki imra'a saw'in wa ma kanat ummuki baghiya. O sister of Harun, your father was not an indecent man, nor was your mother unchaste. Ya ukhta Haruna ma kana abuki imra'a saw'in wa ma kanat ummuki baghiya. The Quran states, فَأَشَارَتْ إِلَيْهِ. So what did Bibi Maryam alayhi salam do? She pointed to the baby. Isa alayhi salam at that time was in the cradle. And they said, قَالُوا كَيْفَ نُكَلِّمُ مَنْ كَانَ فِي الْمَهْدِ صَبِيًّا. They exclaimed, how can we talk to someone who is an infant in the cradle? Remember, she had vowed to fast, so she wasn't going to speak. So she pointed to him, pointed to the baby, and they said, out of astonishment, well, how can we speak to the one who is in the cradle, a baby, who is an infant in the cradle? Here, the Quran tells us about the first miracle of Prophet Isa alayhi salam. The first miracle. Isa alayhi salam spoke with the permission of Allah. Allah Ta'ala allowed Isa alayhi salam to speak. Qala, he said, Inni abdullah, Allahu Akbar. Surely I am truly a servant of Allah, Abdullah. آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا. He has destined me to be given the scripture and to be a prophet. So which scripture book was Isa alayhi salam given? Injil, yes, the Bible, Injil. وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا. He has made me a blessing wherever I go. So these are the words of Isa alayhi salam. He's speaking in the cradle. He has made me a blessing wherever I go and bid me to establish prayer and give alms, tax as long as I live. Yeah. So I've been told to, convey the message of salah, the prayer and zakah, charity, as long as I live. Allahu Akbar. وَبَرًّا بِوَالِدَتِي, and to be kind to my mother. وَلَمْ يَجْعَلْنِي جَبَّارًا شَقِيًّا. He has not made me arrogant or defiant, an open transgressor. All of the prophets, Anbiya alayhimus salam, are ma'soom. Allah Ta'ala has made them ma'soom. They don't commit sins, whether that be minor sins or major sins. He says, وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَيَّ يَوْمَ وُلِدْتُ. Isa alayhi salam said, وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَيَّ يَوْمَ وُلِدْتُ وَيَوْمَ أَمُوتُ وَيَوْمَ أُبْعَثُ حَيًّا. Salam be to me the day I was born, the day I will pass away, die, and the day I will be raised back to, and the day I will be raised back to life. Allahu Akbar. So these are the words of Isa alayhi salam. Allahu Akbar. Then we learn about many miracles Isa alayhi salam performed. He gave sight back to those who were blind. He cured those with leprosy, a skin disease. Due to his blessed touch, he gave life back to the dead. And he was able to, create a bird. Using clay, he formed a picture of a bird. Using clay, he formed the design of a bird, and then he breathed onto the clay and it turned into a real bird, and then the bird flew. So this was a miracle performed by Isa alayhi salam. Isa alayhi salam, he brought the dead back to life. So Allah Ta'ala blessed him with these miracles. He was able to tell the people what they ate and what they had stored in their homes, the food they had stored in their homes. Allahu Akbar. So these were miracles of Isa alayhi salam. Isa alayhi salam cured the blind. Isa alayhi salam, it's our aqidah belief, he is the prophet of Allah, not the son of Allah, and he ascended to the heavens. The Romans saw these miracles performed by Isa alayhi salam. They were his enemies, staunch enemies. Okay, so they decided to kill Isa alayhi salam. And it's mentioned that Isa alayhi salam, when these people wanted to kill Isa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam was informed, and he was taken, ascended to the heavens, raised to the heavens. It's mentioned a cloud came and he went out the window, and this cloud came down. He sat on the cloud, and then he was ascended to the heavens. It's also mentioned that he stepped out his house, and he was raised, he ascended to the heavens. Isa alayhi salam wasn't killed, and he will come back near the day of judgment. The killer who went to kill Isa alayhi salam, it's mentioned he was called Judas. His face changed into the face of Isa alayhi salam, and he was killed. The Romans, the Jews, they thought they had killed Isa alayhi salam. In reality, they did not kill Isa alayhi salam. He was ascended to the heavens alayhi salam. And the killer, the one who intended to kill Isa alayhi salam, he went in. Allah changed his face. Allah changed his face to the face of Isa alayhi salam. And he was killed instead of Isa alayhi salam. He was crucified. And Bibi Maryam alayhi salam was made aware that, your son has not been killed. He is alive. He ascended to the heavens. So Isa alayhi salam was 33 when he ascended to the heavens. He will come back near the day of judgment, and he will live for 7 years. He will pass away at the age of 40. This is our belief. And he will be buried next to the Prophet, peace be upon him, in Medina Sharif. Allah Ta'ala shower his mercy upon all of us. The time of the show has come to an end. Please keep me in your du'as. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala.